Let's take a look at some of Photoshop's automatic color correction controls. Firstly, this image is interesting enough, but slightly flat. If I go to the Image menu and choose Auto Color, it does a quick color correction, richening up the suede of these gloves and the color of her pants. Often I'll hit Command-Z or Control-Z to undo and redo again, just to see where I've come. The image has a blue cast, and blue often makes us think of cold, which this image is cold and we want to think of that, but I want a brighter, happier, more balanced image, so that automatic correction of Image Auto Color popped that into a more beautiful image, in my opinion. I can also try Auto Contrast, which helps the detail in the trees slightly. And many people ask me what Auto Tone is and why it's different than Auto Color. Tone is the light or dark of a color. You can have red that can be a light red or a dark red. So Auto Tone will correct that specific shade, making it more appropriately light or dark in that color. Color is actually the hue or the real value. So if I try Auto Tone, I get, yet again, a slightly different change. But let's appreciate where we've come with all three. If I go to the History panel and stretch it, I can click on the word skier and see the original. Click on the last thing I did, Auto Tone, and see that this image looks far better. Let's try another one. I've got a shot of a tower in Graz, Austria, and I'll choose View Fit on Screen so you could see it better. It was a dark, bit of a cold day, but you could see that there's a blue sky in the background. So I really just want better color on this image so you can appreciate the more yellow, beautiful tone that this tower structure had. So I'll try Image Auto Color. And boom, it's like the sun came out and shone directly on this clock tower. Now I can try Image Auto Contrast, which richened up. You could really see the difference there. If I hit Command-Z or Control-Z, richened up all the shadows in the roofs and building or the blackest parts of the image. And then finally, Image Auto Tone. Auto Tone, again, if I do an undo and a redo, just gave me more of that true yellow that this tower is in. So now I can click on Open to see the original, click on Auto Tone to see the last step. Just so easy to get you to a starting point before you even begin more serious work in Photoshop. We'll try two last images. This penguin, and I'll hit Command-0 or Control-0. Again, this was actually taken at night, so it looks very dark. Image, Auto Color. Just much more beautiful. Now on this one, if I try Image Auto Contrast, I don't see really any difference there. And in this case, under Image Auto Tone, I don't like how it gives it a greenish grayish look. So I'm going to undo that and simply leave it on the Auto Color. I loved what that did to it. Here's before, here's after. A much better shot. Finally, we have a tricky image. I'll hit Command-0 or Control-0 to fit this on screen. And this gentleman was photographed under a trellis that was crawling with ivy. So the light's coming through in green because it's picking up the green of the ivy. We'll try a quick Auto Color. And boom, most of that green is wiped out. It still exists in some of the shadow details. And again, I'll try Auto Tone, but I don't think that that helps. So I'll undo it. My favorite is really Auto Color, and I always test Auto Contrast to see how it's going to do, but you'll get very different results depending on the original image you started with. Hitting undo and redo on Auto Contrast does slightly boost the shadows, so I do like it. Since this is a trickier image, I'm going to try a special effect using the Adjustments panel that was added a few versions ago. I can pause over each icon to see what they do, And as I look at this, I'm going to try a photo filter. I'll click once on the photo filter, and they have a variety that you can play with. In this case, I want to add a little blue to combat the green. So the feeling of cool is given by the color blue. If I try one of the cooling filters, it combats that green with the blue, and I can click the eye icon to turn it off and on, and in my opinion, that's a far better image. There are other ways to mask out these dark greens, but if I appreciate where I came from and where I am now, here's where you started, like a green lens was on the shot. Here's where I am. A much more beautiful, more color-balanced image overall. So give these automatic color corrections a try, and feel free to experiment on the photo filter. If I wanted to edit that effect, I can double-click on the camera icon here in the Layers panel, and I could try different cooling filters to see if I like how it affects the skin tone. Or I can try an overall blue filter on the image. But you can experiment with others just to see what they're capable of. I'm going to ultimately either go back to blue or one of the cooling filters. I hope you enjoyed and got a lot out of these automatic corrections that Photoshop offers to give you a great starting image.